Hello, Texas Online Preparatory School. My name is Jerry Smith, and I'm applying for your position for middle school math interventionist. First, I would like to say that my past year at Arizona Virtual Academy has been nothing short but spectacular for me. I've been a math interventionist for over 20 years, and I was not expecting that my time with Melody Williamson, Heather Cavell, and Haley Tist, two principals and a vice principal, would change my skill level to such a degree. It was an absolute pleasure to work with them at Arizona Virtual Academy. That being said, I am really happy to be back in Texas. And I am looking forward to seeing some of my friends from Texas eSchool Prep. So I'm very much hoping that I will have the opportunity to work at TOPS with you guys. Starting on, first of all, when I look at the students that we work with, usually like to take the RIT scores immediately and put them on my tracker. I have a very large tracker that I track my students with, very detailed. And I like to take the map, both the map growth and the map skills, and find out exactly where the students are. You can see that that we're working with a second to third grade level when we're between the 190s and the 210s. And one of my first exercises or subjects that I've would like to share, and I've shared here, is with algebraic expressions. I take the TEKS standard for comparing and ordering numbers, which includes the order of operations, and I've taken the students that you have given me, and the only change I made here was that I split the non-proficients into two separate groups. I then wanted to dig further into the alignment of the star, and so I looked into the standard that shows the concepts of expressions and equations, which is kind of general but still very important. Now, the specific standard that we have here says that we are to use order of operations and include whole number exponents in prime factorization. Okay, here's the problem, here's the rub. This has to be adapted when we are working with students who have RIT scores on the second to third grade level. Therefore, I have changed their objective, and usually have to change their objective to accommodate them learning to walk before they can run. So the objective I have here is, after identifying what is given, the student needs to learn how to use the order of operations to simplify the expression. And that would be a numerical expression, an arithmetic expression. Only after that, then will the student be able to go to the next step on a staircase to conquering algebraic expressions. On this slide, it shows that I have broken up the different groups into different breakout rooms and given them math names. I would like to point out that I do like to do research on the IEPs, my ESLs and 501s, and I do like to contact the people who are working with the students in those areas to get some additional information on my students, anything that would help to help that student. I also like to identify the students that have problems with anxiety. Usually they will not come into the group, and they will only want me to work with them one-on-one. It is a challenge to conquer and to bring them into the group on that. Another thing I like to do is I like to take the advanced students, and if I can find the right slide here, The advanced students, I do have a teacher assistant program that I run once a week for an hour, and sometimes it goes to an hour and a half. But we get into some additional problems so that they can move ahead, they can advance in their math learning, which helps them greatly. Now, it surprises me sometimes, but not only do my advanced students do well in this, I've had some of my slowest students do well in this as well. It's a great confidence builder, and so it's a neat way to bring out their talents and their giftings. So I really like that program. And then when I do have breakout rooms, then they can monitor the breakout room, and they are also ready to help anyone who needs help where I cannot get to them on a timely basis. Usually we start out with a warm-up, and again, we're doing the transition. We're starting very basic, so we're starting with arithmetic expressions first. I do always put my example up here so that they can see what we're looking at. After the warm-up is completed, I apologize, I do grade each one and show them so they have immediate feedback. I want them to know immediately what mistakes that they've made, and I ask them to correct it. I don't correct it for them. And they're also required to put this 3-step reason column on the right side so that they are able to write their logic in written form. I am a firm believer in contests. I believe it motivates the students to do even more, to try harder, and they do. Some reason they like those Dairy Queen gift cards, and it's kind of exciting to see them work for that. I am a supporter of the Stride engine. I think that it's one of the best engines out there. It does go up to a high school level, so I think it does help them academically to grow higher. Also have worked with MathEdge, so I've had MathEdge contest as well as Stride. And this is the slide I used. It has all of our information on it, their success. And one of the things I really like using on here is raise your hand if you want to read. I really encourage my students to read, and sometimes I will call in a round robin fashion. I will call on different people who have not read to read, and we go over the what each thing means on yellow sign, open mic, whiteboard, open chat, chatterbox. They don't need any help on that one. And then read when the teacher calls on you. Very important is the polling, and I not only take one poll, I take about 4 or 5 so that I can monitor their answers as we progress in the lesson to see if they're changing their minds when they got it wrong. I also like to open the mic up and let them discuss, allowing the students to read the questions, how much math is used to go to the moon and back, and then let them discuss it among themselves. Another thing that's very important I require is that they have their own math dictionary. They can use the same spiral that they have their math notes in, or they can use a loose leaf notebook for that, or they can use PowerPoint. And I'm encouraging more and more to go to PowerPoint because it is easier for me to grade, and I might put that down as a hard, fast rule. I haven't decided yet. Also, I like to break down the objective, and it's usually easy to break that down into the reason column, the given, the strategy, and the conclusion. So I ask the students to do that to see where they're at. This is an example of the math dictionary, which I asked them to read, and open mic. Can you tell me what these words mean? I'm an alien that just got here from Mars. Can anybody share with me what these words mean? And of course, we have to have an example or a picture. I require that on in their math dictionaries. And I do encourage them again to read and to have an open mic about what is the difference between a right and a left expression, what is the difference between an expression in an equation, and of course we want to write all of this down. So it really surprises me that there's not only students but adults that cannot tell the difference between an expression and an equation. So again, we go over the reason column together. It's a very simple 3-step, and this should have the PEMDAS in here. I keep forgetting to put the PEMDAS. It's PEMDAS left to right. I do want them to learn that. Again, we go with another poll to see if they've changed their mind again, if they've learned more since the last time. So I like to present the PEMDAS in several different ways. Okay, I think it's important that they know the difference between the left to right rule of PEMDAS and the order of operations. What are the differences? What are the similarities? I like to present the lesson in several different ways. Here, I've got a little bit of a military cartoon going on, so they can see military order with the general, the colonel, and the sergeants and the privates, so they can get a kind of a visual of the order of operations as well. One of the most important slides that I like to use is where they're proving what these answers are. And I'll ask for 2 volunteers, but I will also ask that the other students work out the problems on their own. And so what happens is that we have 3 of the same problem, but we see what answers everybody gets on those. And of course, there's 3 different answers that I think there's 6 or 7 different answers you can get on this if you don't have the right order. So it allows the students to see for proof that you cannot just pick out expressions and do them from left to right. It will not work. You do have to have the PEMDAS. And then of course, again, I want to pull that to see if they've increased in their polling, if their understanding has increased. And then when I'm finished with this, I like to go to and give them an I-do of the next item we're going to be working on, which is algebraic expressions. Actually, this is a numerical expression with a power or exponent. And I give them a quiz. And I allow, try to grade their quizzes on the spot so they know exactly what they got. And then I will take the quizzes and give them to their teachers after I record it in a tracker. I do have a large tracker. This is very detail oriented. And this is where I made my big mistake. I thought that I would go ahead and teach this lesson with exponents and powers in it as my next lesson. And my students went like this to me and they said, we don't do powers. They not only stopped in the middle of the lesson, but every one of them logged off. It was a big lesson for me. And I learned from then that my next step was not algebraic expressions, but I had to do factors and powers. I'm sorry, not factors, powers and exponents next. And then, of course, I have a slide for those who are not engaging. I've really enjoyed sharing this lesson with you. And as I've said before, I would really like the opportunity to work with TOPS. I believe that there is no one that has the passion that I have for these students. Not only just 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. I've seen students as much jump ahead 4 years in a year. And that's what I'm after. I hope that I will hear from you soon, and you all have a blessed day. Thank you.